Southeast Asia, famed for its ancient temples, its great rivers and jungles, white sandy beaches, megacities hosting tens of millions, exotic cuisine ranging from the delicious to the, well, yes. Home to wildlife such as elephants, apes, and monkeys, the Komodo dragon, and of course, us. Oh yes, quite the specimen. Oh, hello there. Ni hao. Oh my, that'll do nicely. Oh, this guy gets it. It's too much. Back to the insects. Ugh. No. What the? No, something more zen. Yes, that's better. Let's begin, shall we? This is Naughty Nomad's Guide to Southeast Asia. What a load of smut. I better be getting paid for this. An absolute disgrace.
How's it going, guys? And we are live. Guys, welcome to the show. Here it is, my big Southeast Asia breakdown. Did you like that intro? You sexy bastards? And hit that like button, guys. Come on. Subscribe if you haven't already. A load of you guys aren't subscribed yet. Why? What's going on, guys? What's going on? Hey, well, happy Friday. Happy weekend to you. Guys, I'm not going to waste time here. I hope you like that intro. There's more where that comes from as well. I got another video of my top 10. It's like really well edited as well. And also got a presentation for you today with trip ideas. We're going to break down the whole thing. I got loads of questions. We got a great show for you today. I'm up in my game each time I do these things, guys. So I'm just going to show you now what we are running through today. Where is everyone from, by the way, while I'm pulling this up? Let us know in the chat, and I will get to your questions, guys, at the end of the video after my presentation. Okay, we're going to screen share this. Here we go. Okay, yes. All right. 1 second here, guys. It's not supposed to be showing the whole screen. Oh, here, we'll just get right into it. Doesn't matter about the blurb at the bottom. Okay. And that's the breakdown. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's go. Okay, so we'll start off with just the basic thing you guys need to know. Obviously, if you're traveling, the thing that's most important, especially if you're going to meet some nice friendly locals, is if they speak English or not. So this is the breakdown of English skills in the area. So as you can see here, I'll put this up here. As you can see, the most proficient is Singapore. Almost everyone speaks English in Singapore. And the lowest would be Myanmar and Cambodia. But you'll find that even if you go to Cambodia, most of the young women that you will encounter do have a pretty decent level of English regardless. I mean, it's not going to be much of an issue for you. Philippines, I don't know why that's not the highest, because nearly every single person speaks English in the Philippines. It's probably the easiest place. And Malaysia's super easy as well. In all honesty, guys, you're not going to really have much issues with language in the whole of Southeast Asia. I personally learned a bit of Thai when I went to train MMA there 2 years ago. Pom Kautsai Pasatai Nitnoi Klap. I think I said that right. But as you can see, it's tonal, very difficult language. Not something you casually pick up. I also have a bit of Mandarin Chinese, but again, you'll only use that with Chinese populations in Malaysia and Singapore. Bahasa which is spoken in Indonesia and Malaysia, is actually quite easy to pick up if you're interested. And just having a few words like, I think you say nama saya Mark, my name is Mark, or terima kasih, thank you. Just simple words like that. They really do appreciate it. But otherwise, English is pretty well spoken. Right, next slide. Okay, cultural reasons. I'm sorry for the bad graphics here, guys, but this is important because more than language barrier, this is going to be far more influential on your trip, and it's about the culture and how open they are, right? So I'm going to bring this up again. Okay, so secularism is growing, popular in Vietnam and Singapore. Basically atheistic. A lot of the Chinese, they're not very religious. In general, the whole region isn't particularly religious. This is in the Middle East. And even in the Islamic countries like Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, they're not so strict. I mean, you see a lot of girls in the hijabs, but there's plenty of nightclubs, there's plenty of fun, with the exception of Brunei. Brunei is a dry country. That's this tiny little guy up here, tiny little squidgen on Borneo. And Sumatra, this island here in Indonesia, that's pretty strict as well, but you probably won't be hanging out there. Yes, I actually mentioned that here in the notes. And Christian and Buddhist countries are obviously the most liberal. So we're talking Thailand, Cambodia, and Philippines, probably the most liberal. Although that said, divorce, guys, is still illegal in the Philippines. So it's not that liberal. But in terms of getting with the locals, I think it's probably the easiest place in the region. So that's the cultural regions. Now, the big question, and often debated online: where has the best chicas? Where? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Where in Southeast Asia are your favorite girls? Well, I was nerdy enough a couple of years ago to break down a chart. Yes, I created a chart. And in this chart, I summed up each country based on 3 criteria. I believe it was actually Roosh V who came up with these 3 criteria for assessing women, and I think it's a pretty good criteria. So here it was. I know I'm going to shoot the gun here, but it's like, so genetic beauty, femininity, and sexuality. I mean, they speak for themselves. Femininity, sexuality, correlated, but quite different. And so I know this is super nerdy to go really hardcore with this, but as you can see here, like with Brunei, obviously sexuality is minimal, no alcohol there. It's very strict. It's the lowest points, along with Myanmar. Myanmar, the same thing. All the girls in Myanmar wear these weird Tanaka makeup thing. Makeups, it's really strange the way they dress over there as well. And the nightlife is lower. Where in Laos, I have it there as 0. That's incorrect. So that used to be the case, because in Laos it used to be illegal to hook up with foreigners, but I believe that's changed now. So don't mind that Laos score. It's not fair. Laos, should I say, not Laos. And the highest rated here of Cambodia and Indonesia, pretty high up there. Singapore is a bit lower, just because you don't have the exotic capital you would in the other countries. Then I have Philippines and Thailand pretty much at the top there. Pretty much joint now, to be honest. They're a bit more sexual in the Philippines, but the Thais are a bit better looking. The worst looking in the region are probably, I have them, Timor-Leste, which is East Timor, guys. Don't bother. They're not so great over there, and it's not particularly easy either. Vietnam is somewhere in the middle. Maybe I've underrated Vietnam. Some people say I would, but I'm not too pushed on it. Yeah. Johnny just said, yeah, he's putting up there. Ouch, Vietnam only got 6. To be honest, I wasn't too impressed. Listen, that might be unfair. It's been years since I've been there, guys. So maybe it is a bit unfair. But even just let's give him an extra point. Oh, sorry, guys. That's Let's give him an extra point or two. It should be higher. Yeah, so that's that. And Malaysia's pretty high. People might be surprised by that, but that's because if you go to Borneo, you know, they're a lot more open in Borneo than the mainland, and they're very good looking. You know, a lot of the Chinese girls are gorgeous, in my opinion. Okay, so next slide. Let's go. So that answers that. All right, so if you have only 2 weeks, I'd recommend Thailand or the Philippines. Simple as. Because if you are going to travel to the region, there's no point if you only have 2 weeks to try and squeeze in Cambodia or try and squeeze in Vietnam, or just keep it easy, guys. Thailand and Philippines are the best spots. Now, before I go on to my trip ideas, I have another video for you guys, which I think you're really going to like. 1 second here. So this is going to be a video I put together. It's really high quality, and it's my top 10 destinations in Southeast Asia. So just bear with me for a moment here while I pull it up. Yeah, so where's your top picks, guys? Let me know what your favorite places in Southeast Asia are. And people, look at the chat there to see what other people are saying. Okay, here we go. This is coming up already. Okay. Yeah, so this is about 5 or 6 minutes, but it's very well put together, and I think you'll enjoy it. So I'm just going to share the screen here. 1 second. And enjoy, guys. And I'll see you in a few minutes while you enjoy this. Whoop, here we go. Okay. Welcome to paradise. I've been to every single country in Southeast Asia, and today I give you my top 10 destinations in the region. Hi guys, Mark Zolo here, the internet's #1 international wingman and author of over 100 city guides on naughtynomad.com. Real quick guys, before I get into my top picks today, if you are a guy who likes adventure, travel and wants to up their game in dating and life, then hit that subscribe button. That's what we're all about here at Naughty Nomad. And guys, do stick around till the end of the video because I've included some extra amazing locations as honorary mentions. So the following were picked based on 3 criteria: beauty, uniqueness, and the fun factor. So let's begin. We start off the beaten track in Flores Island, Indonesia, a land of volcanoes and dragons, the base for exploring Komodo Island and the oceans below, without the tourist lines found in other countries. Laos, a mysterious mountainous country with beautiful landscapes and UNESCO sites. Nightlife is limited and drugs aren't on the menu like they used to be, but it's a great place to explore for the adventurous. Myanmar, hosting the incredible temples of Bagan and the floating villages of Lake Inle, is probably the most unique and interesting culture in the region. Many parts are still closed to tourists and don't come for the nightlife, but it's a place to remember. Ha Long Bay, Vietnam, famed for its iconic karst scenery. It may be touristy, but an overnight stay on a boat here is well worth it. And only 2.5 hours away is the craziness of Hanoi, home to 8 million. Palawan, a large remote island in the Philippines, with unspoiled white sandy beaches, jungles, underground rivers, and friendly people. It's absolutely stunning and the perfect place for a bike trip. Borneo, Malaysia, the world's oldest rainforest, home to the orangutan, the highest peak in Southeast Asia, and some of the largest caves in the world. And for fun, the Rainforest Festival in summer is not to be missed. By the way guys, if you're getting value from this video, hit that like button. It really helps with the algorithm. And for every guy who hits that like button, Buddha himself will bless you with X-ray vision when you arrive. So you can see if that new Thai love interest of yours has a heartthrob or a throbbing boner. Just hit that like button, trust me. Koh Phi Phi, Thailand. Yes, it's touristy, but there's no denying that it is gorgeous. And if you're feeling up to it, be sure to sign up for a fight at the Mai Tai bar. You may need some liquid courage, but you'll earn yourself a bucket of vodka and Red Bull. Trust me, you'll need it, because the beach parties here go all night. Cambodia, the Wild West of the East, earns its reputation. Marvel at the ancient temples of Angkor. Discover a fascinating history. Meet some welcoming locals. Enjoy the beaches of Koh Rong and Sihanoukville, the Mekong Delta, and party hard in the capital, Phnom Penh. Boracay, Philippines. This tiny party island may get overcrowded in high season, but in low season, this place is about as close to paradise as you can get. White sands, sun, fun, and Filipinas. What more could a guy want? Bali, Indonesia. A cliche, but this island has it all. A unique culture, temples, waterfalls, jungle, volcanoes, diving, beaches, a wild nightlife, and beautiful women. It truly lives up to the hype. So guys, don't take this list as gospel. Honestly, any of those top 5 could be joint number 1 for me. I haven't been everywhere in Southeast Asia either, and obviously everybody's experience when they travel is different. With that said, here are some other favorite destinations submitted by fellow naughty nomads. Chiang Mai, northern Thailand. Bangkok, its crazy capital. Koh Samui and Koh Phangan for the full moon party. Hoi An, Vietnam. Sapa in the Northern Highlands. And finally, the diverse island of Java, Indonesia. So guys, what are your top picks? Did I miss them? Also, where do you want me to cover next? Please leave a comment down below and let's chat. And if you guys want to experience the incredible... Enough of that. Okay, so you get the idea. There's no point, I'm just plugging in at the end. So yes, so guys, do you like that video by the way? Hit like. I'm making a lot of effort for you guys, right? And guys, there's more coming. I just invested in some new camera gear. I'm always going to try and keep up in the game for you guys. So that was my top 10. What did you think? You disagree? You agree? What did I miss? I'm sure I missed some of your favorite places, guys. I'm never going to get everybody, have everyone happy. Now I'm going to go over my trip ideas. So these are some ideas. If you guys have a bit longer than 2 weeks and you've a bit more room to play with, where I would recommend you go. Now just hold up a second here. Yeah, so guys, did I miss any of your places? Let me know. Okay, here we go. All right. So first trip recommendation, and that would be the Banana Pancake Trail Classic. Sorry about the graphic there. I know it's not particularly high quality, but this is kind of the starter pack for Southeast Asia. It's what almost every backpacker or traveler does when they have a couple of weeks to spare. Start in Bangkok. It's the easiest place to fly into. Maybe do northern Thailand. Into Laos, Luang Prabang and Vang Vieng there. Then up to Hanoi for Halong Bay. And depending on how long you have, you can stop midway in Hue, Hanoi, Nha Trang, on your way down to Ho Chi Minh, and then do the Mekong Delta. It's a really cool trip to Cambodia. And Cambodia, great places: Koh Rong, Sihanoukville, Phnom Penh, Angkor Wat, the temples there. I recommend about 4 to 8 weeks to do this trip. And the highlights include Angkor Wat. Oh, they're mentioned there in black and white. But if you amend this or add on to it, I'd also recommend you check out maybe Koh Phangan, Koh Samui for the full moon party. That's just south in the Gulf of Thailand there. And also, if you wanted something a bit more interesting and adventurous, you might want to consider going to Myanmar. Fly from Bangkok to Myanmar and do maybe a week, 10 days there. Nightlife isn't up to much, as I said in the video, but it's a really fascinating place. And for a lot of people, it's their favorite destination in Southeast Asia. I found it a little boring, to be honest. It was maybe good for a week, but certainly fascinating place. And Bagan is just gorgeous. So that is trip number 1. And guys, any questions, by the way, shoot me in there, because we're going to get to our questions and answers section very shortly. I have a list here. But now we'll do my second trip. This will be the last one I recommend. And this is Bangkok to Bali. All right. So Very simple. Start in Bangkok. Maybe do either some of the islands in South Thailand. So we're talking Koh Phangan, Koh Samui, or maybe the other side, which I personally prefer. Well, I haven't been to Koh Phangan, so I can't say about that. But I love Koh Phi Phi. It's near Phuket on the other side. Then maybe do like Taman Negara, some jungle experiences in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, the capital, Singapore, just to check out Singapore, and then have some really good fun down in Jakarta. Jakarta is a wild city, guys, especially for girls. And Java itself got tons of stuff. It got temples, waterfalls, volcanoes, and then we maybe end up in Bali. I love Bali. As I said, it's my number one for a reason. Sorry, I just realized the highlights here are the same as the last trip, so just ignore that. Yeah, so that's they're my two recommendations. Okay, so now let's get to questions. I'll make that bigger because that just looks good. Yeah, questions and answers, guys. So leave your questions in the chat, guys, and I'll try and get to them. But I'll start off with a few that came in via Twitter and Facebook before the stream. Okay, firstly, what are the cheapest places and most expensive places? So the cheapest place would probably be somewhere like Laos. Laos is really cheap. The most expensive is Singapore, for obvious reasons. Malaysia can be a bit pricey for alcohol as well, but it's not so expensive. Brunei is a bit pricier as well. Cambodia is dirt cheap. Indonesia is dirt cheap. And Thailand, although it's getting more expensive, is still pretty damn cheap. And same with Vietnam. So, guys, you're talking about one of the cheapest regions in the world. It's like Eastern Europe. It's cheaper than South America, cheaper than Africa. You're not going to spend too much cash when you go to Southeast Asia. So hopefully that answers that question. Then Hamza off Twitter asks, if you had to choose between Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, or Myanmar, where would you pick? I would pick Cambodia. Cambodia kind of has everything, and it's much more fun. The people are a bit friendlier. Like in Laos and Vietnam and Myanmar, the people are a little bit standoffish, especially like for girls and stuff. Like Cambodia smokes them, and that's my personal opinion. Maybe I know a lot of people have had amazing experiences in Vietnam, but I haven't been there since I was 19, so that's 15 years ago, guys. So look where you're getting your source. I'm maybe not the best person to talk to about Vietnam. Okay, other questions. I'll go to one in the chat here, actually. One second. Actually, any questions in the chat so far? Nope, I don't see it. Guys, throw in your questions there. I'll try and get to the way. I got one here. Okay, if you were to move and have a base in Southeast Asia, where would it be? Hear a lot of talk about Malaysia. All right, thanks, David, for that question. Meh. I wouldn't honestly. I wouldn't recommend Malaysia. Oh, sorry. I find it's alcohol is expensive. It's a bit more restrictive for nightlife, although it's a beautiful place. If I had to retire anywhere, this is actually somebody asked me this question on Facebook as well. So kill two birds with one stone. If I had to retire anywhere, I would probably retire to the Philippines. You're just going to have a blast there. The Philippines is just paradise. It's paradise. And as you get older, the women are still very receptive there. I mean, there's a reason why it's full of dirty old bastards. Same with Thailand as well. But Thailand's a good place. That'd probably be my second choice, Thailand. I think there's issues with visas as well. You can only spend 21 days, I think, in the Philippines, whereas Thailand introduced kind of a digital nomad visa. And it's easier to do visa runs in Thailand as well because there's lots of borders. You just hop back and forth. Whereas Philippines, you have to fly out. So that's a big disadvantage with the Philippines. Malaysia, as a for standard of living is excellent, and for quality of girls. And for a second, that's never happened to me before, I promise. Yeah, so Malaysia, meh. Jakarta is would be a fun place as well if you just wanted to slam and just be an absolute heathen. You go to Bangkok, Manila, Jakarta, and just you'd slam all day. You'd have so much fun, and there's millions of girls. Depends what you want. Quality of living is not so great in those cities either. A bit better in parts of Bangkok. Okay. Oh, thank you very much for the Hugh Janus Super Chat 2000. Can we talk about game in Borneo? Good. I love Borneo. Borneo is so underrated. Yeah. So, I mean, Borneo it's way more liberal than West Malaysia. The beer is cheaper as well. I don't think there's much of the syntax. The nightlife is, although it's not crazy, but it's way more lively, in my opinion, than Kuala Lumpur. And one of the best festivals, guys, you could possibly go to. They have this rainforest festival every summer. I think it's in July. So it's in the jungle, but by the beach. The actual concert venue is in the jungle, and it's all like ethnic roots kind of music, and they got a lot of indigenous bands. But people come all over Malaysia in droves. All the city guys from Kuala Lumpur, they rent like chalets on the beach, and it gets pretty wild here. Everyone's smoking. People end up doing barefoot in mud in circles around fires, kind of hey yo. That's the kind of vibe there. And so you hear all this really cool music in the daytime, and then at nighttime when the concert's over, everybody moves to the beach, where most of them rent chalets. And on the beach, then it's like just a free for all party. You got people just whipping out guitars, people just drinking on the beach. Everyone's mingling. It's like a free for all. It's one of the best experiences you could possibly have, and it's very off the beaten track. This is the opposite to the full moon party because it's mainly Asians. You're going to meet mainly Asians there. Great, and some of the girls are gorgeous. Yeah, so Borneo is underrated, and I'm thinking of, when I talk of cities and nightlife, I'm thinking of Kuching in the south. That's where I visited. There's another, I can't remember the city. Is it Cantabala? Sorry, I can't remember the city in the north. There's another big city in the north. I'd imagine the nightlife is similar to Kuching, but yeah, very underrated. And thanks for that super chat, bro. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay, and I'll fill another question from other social media. What about East Timor and Brunei? Don't bother with Brunei. Alcohol is illegal. It's fine if you want to tick it off your list, but not up to much. East Timor is interesting because there's not a lot of people who visit there. Nightlife is pretty bad. The ratios are some of the worst I've seen. It's like 9 men to every 1 woman. And they're not particularly good looking. You can pull there, but you got to have game. And you got to have game to compete for scraps. So if you're looking for something adventurous, it might be interesting. But unless you're a country country like me, I wouldn't bother. What about ladyboys? Yeah. You will know ladyboys because, for one, they tend to be taller, have bigger features, like bigger hands, bigger feet. And often they're too good looking. They're really good looking, some of them. And, because they've lower body fat, tall, really good jaw lines. If they stand out and they're kind of suspiciously altered, you're probably dealing with the dude. But the biggest giveaway is how forward they are. They're very forward. They'll let you know. They'll come up. They'll try and grab your balls. They'll offer you to bang straight away. And if they play a coy, if some of them are smart about it, you can do the tit test. If they're too hard, you can kind of test for implants. But look at the hands. You mainly have to worry about that in Thailand. It's not such a big deal in other countries. A little bit in the Philippines, but Thailand is where Trust me, you'll learn. You'll learn. But be careful, guys, because there is so many dudes who get caught after a few drinks, especially if it's like their first or two nights there and they don't know and they get played. Yeah, there's a lot of guys with horror stories. Thankfully, I don't have one. Thankfully, I don't. I got wise. Okay. Best country long term. That was already asked. 11X asked that on Twitter. I've already answered that. Okay. The classic. This is from Jurak. Jurak. Sorry, man, if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This is on Facebook. The classic question. The classic question. Jakarta versus Manila versus Saigon versus Bangkok. The four big mega cities where you can basically set up and live the life of Riley, and you could go through 20-year-olds till you croak. Ho Chi Minh, I said I don't have a lot of experience with that, and it didn't leave too much of an impression on me personally. I'd knock it down to Jakarta, Manila, Bangkok. Okay, Bangkok is probably the most livable city. It's got so much going on. Great hub for flying, but it's very touristy, and there's lots of people there. Your exotic capital. You're not very exotic in Bangkok. The white god factor, if you want to call it that, is not as high as in, let's say, Manila or Jakarta. I know Irish does Asia. Shout out, bro, who I traveled with in Kazakhstan. He spends a lot of time in Jakarta. He's based out of Singapore, and he swears by Jakarta. He lives large there. That guy he's showing me some pictures. Damn. In terms of lifestyle, he is living the best I've seen. You can have tons of fun in Manila as well, but Manila's a big, dirty city. I don't know. So is Jakarta. But if it was up to me, I would probably be a toss-up between Bangkok and Manila. I don't know. That's a hard one. What do you guys think in the chat? Anyone has who's been to both places? What are your favorites between those two? I know a lot of people would vote for Jakarta, even though I'm not including it. But yeah, maybe I didn't spend enough time there. Maybe Manila for me because I just like Filipinos a lot. Yeah, I love Bangkok too. It's hard. It's too hard. The debate continues. The debate continues. You have to just go and see for yourself. You have to just go and see for yourself. Hidden gems. Any hidden gems that I'm not mentioning? There's a few places that people mention to me, like Sulawesi Islands in Indonesia, or Aceh in Sumatra, Papua, the Indonesian side. Really, these are really off the beaten track places. And while I haven't been to any of those, I'm sure the further you get off the beaten track, the better, to any of those places. There's 20,000 islands in Southeast Asia. So it's not very hard to find hidden gems, especially in the Philippines. I mean, how many islands are in the Philippines? Probably, 7,000, 8,000? I don't know, but it's vast. You can really just spend all your time there discovering. You can spend your whole life discovering new places in the Philippines alone. Sorry. Yeah. So, right. Any more questions in the chat, by the way, guys? Send them in. Now, what about the white god factor? That's another question I got. Where are you most exotic as a white guy? Basically, the further you get off the beaten track, the better. So Philippines is probably number one. I mean, you're never gonna have an easier time than the Philippines, in my personal opinion. And the further you get off the beaten track, if you go down to like Mindanao or some of the lesser known islands, you're going to be even more exotic. There's not so much of a white god factor. I hate even saying that, white god factor. Let's call it exotic capital. I like to refer to the term as exotic capital. You won't find so much exotic capital in Malaysia, Singapore. Less and less Thailand as well, because there's just so much tourists and backpackers in Thailand. A little bit more in Cambodia, even though it's quite touristy, and they're just very receptive there. Indonesia as well, but only parts of Indonesia, like Jakarta. You're gonna have a lot of exotic capital in Jakarta. A lot of more places that off the beaten track Indonesia, they tend to be a bit more religious. You see a lot more hijabs, so it can get a little bit more difficult. Yeah, and Myanmar doesn't really factor in because it's a very insular society. Um, yeah, so they're the ones that stick out, guys. If you're a white guy, there's no easier place in the world to get laid. So I think Philippines is probably the easiest place. I mean, Africa, it can be very easy, but you got to watch your ass. Maybe she'll rob your pockets in the morning, or it's a setup. Be like, there's a lot of dodgy chicks over there. Southeast Asia, it happens a lot. I could tell you stories. I could tell you. I mean, anyone who's read my book know that there's a lot of dodgy girls in Southeast Asia, and you can get into trouble. You need to be careful. But generally, they're small. So worst comes to worst, they're not very physically imposing. Getting a bit off topic here. Right. So, any more questions in, guys? I think I've covered a lot. Did you like it? By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, what's going on, guys? I think there's like 80% of you guys aren't subscribed. So, take this opportunity to please subscribe. Give us a like there. It really helps out with the algorithm as well. And let me know where you want me to do next, because I'm going to keep doing this. I really enjoy interacting with you and giving you guys value. Another question I have here. How would you compare Southeast Asia versus South America versus Africa? It's a big question. Okay, so Southeast Asia is probably the easiest place to travel out of all those, only because the English is there's more English speaking people. South America has a bit more crime, I think. You need to learn Spanish. You got to have Spanish. Africa is the most adventurous. Personally, my favorite continent is Africa. But just because it's my favorite and it's exciting and it's adventurous doesn't mean it's fun. A lot of Africa is really, really, really tough to travel in. I prefer the women in South America and Africa as well, personally. I mean, I went through the yellow fever phase. I think we all go through the yellow fever phase, but it can get a bit old. I think I'm more a jungle fever guy, or Latina Spanish fly. But yeah, it's hard to compare any of these places. If you want adventure, go to Africa. If you just want quantity in terms of just go nuts and rack up a load of notches, Southeast Asia. And also Southeast Asia, just for traveling experiences in general, is very easy. And it's the culture shock is big over there. It's more exotic. And then South America, if you want quality, if you don't, like there's quality girls at Colombia, Brazil, and also it's a lot nearer to you guys in America. Think of it that way. It's hard to compare. And if somebody asks me what my favorite country is, I usually have I say my top three: Colombia, Ethiopia, and Philippines. They're my top three countries. So, and I think they're kind of equal. They're different. I couldn't compare them. I couldn't tell you which one is better. I love them all. All right, I got another question in here. Right, this is my nipples. They hurt when you twist them. Ah, yes. No, I think you were my first. You gave me my first tip, man. Forney, you tear a lot of crease in Thailand. Okay, that's I think that's for Matt. All right, shout out Matt. How's it going, Matt Forney from Terror House Press? Check out his podcast. And he answers here. On facilities, yeah, never been to Thailand. Right. Anyway, so guys, I think that's it. That's all the questions I've got in. Yeah, so thank you very much. As usual, you can try and follow me on social media. There's my Twitter, my Instagram, also on Facebook. I think it's the same thing, Naughty Nomad. Just you can just type it into the search bar. We also have a group, Naughty Nomad Facebook group, where you can chat and ask questions with fellow travelers. Mind you, it has a 95% rejection rate, only because I get a lot of strange people asking. But do answer the questions, because I auto reject them if you don't answer the questions to get into the group. If you're interested. Yeah, and let me know where you want to do next. I'll keep making these uh, for you guys. And so, yeah, that's it. At naughtynomad.com, obviously, check out my book and my newest book, My Life as a Mexican Pirate. If you're interested in reading more about Southeast Asia, as I mentioned in the top 10 video, sorry, I cut out during that part, but Southeast Asia features heavily in my first book, Naughty Nomad, Not Your Typical Backpacker Story. I think the majority of it happens in Southeast Asia. And if you want to experience Southeast Asia from the comfort of your own home or get a feel for it, do pick up that book, because it really gives you a good insight into what the region is like. Highly recommend it, guys. Southeast Asia is amazing. Hopefully, this year we can travel and explore a bit more. I know what I'm eyeing up. Just a little bit of news. On Monday, hopefully, I hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the arse, but I'm looking at booking a flight to Karachi, Pakistan. And finally, hopefully, visa willing, I get to go to Afghanistan after all these years. I've been planning to go to Afghanistan for the last 14 years, and it never gotten around to it. But now the stars are aligned. I'm going to go with Tom Butch, who I interviewed on my podcast. He was over covering the war in Armenia, Azerbaijan, and he said he's going to go to Afghanistan to cover it there. So hopefully I'm going to join in with him. So that's news of me, and yeah, that's that, guys. I'm going to bid you adieu, unless anyone's got any last minute questions. Yes, we got one, we got two. Here we go. Do you feel like Latin women take possession and act very jealous? Some of them, yes, it's a stereotype, but my girl is Colombian, and she is not very jealous. But I don't think I would tolerate a jealous woman. That would drive me crazy. But yeah, it's a stereotype. I've heard it time and time again. Listen off. Loads of girls are jealous. It just depends how you frame the relationship at the start. Yeah, but I in my experience in New York, I dated a ton of Latinas. Yeah, but no more than anyone else. I think it's a bit overblown. I think they just express their emotions more, and that's the stereotype. But yeah. So, next question we have is best day game city in Southeast Asia. I am a night guy. I mean, night over there is electric. The day game, I have done day game over there. Where Bali? Bali. I did day game in Bali because I didn't want to deal with hookers at nighttime. There's a lot of hookers about. There's a lot of that's another thing about Southeast Asia I didn't mention. There's a lot of hookers, a lot of prostitutes, especially in Cambodia, Jakarta, Bangkok. I had pretty much all the major cities. Not so much Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, but the less developed cities. You're gonna deal with them, and it gets a bit frustrating. Now to think about it, I did a lot of day game in Philippines as well because of the same problem. So what I used to do, a little hack for you guys, just because of the exotic capital, I used to write down my number. I guess you could do it with your social media or whatever. I used to have little strips of paper, and I would go to shopping malls in Philippines and in Manila, and I would just see cute girl go up. I wouldn't say anything. I'd just say, "This is for you," pretty much, and I'd bounce. I might say a few words, but I just hand these out like I was doling them out at like cyanide at Jonestown, and yeah, the girls would just message you back, and that way it cut out all the bad girls, and yeah, I was in Southeast Asia primarily prior to Tinder. I don't even know what it's like now. I'd say it's so easy doing the online stuff. But again, you're going to get a lot of scammers online. It's a lot of work. Guys, you're not going to have difficulties if you spend a bit of time there, you're not going to have difficulties. Pretty much anywhere I'd say is good for day gaming. But as a day game is not my specialty. Matt actually gave us a bit of an answer there. He said day game is so easy in the Philippines, it should be illegal. There you go. There you go, lads. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Another question: you can lose your head in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Yeah, I can. I could have lost it in Somalia, Mogadishu. Could have lost it in Syria. It's kind of the appeal of it for me, you know. I like a bit of danger. Everyone knows me, knows I like a bit of danger. Hopefully, I'm going to film it for you guys and make some sort of mini doc, or just create some kick-ass content from Afghanistan. I know you'd love to see that. I love trying to find the underground scene in cities like that. All right, guys, I think that's the end of the questions. So I will leave it there. If you guys want to contact me, you can also shoot me an email at thenaughtynomad@gmail.com or Insta, Twitter. Send me DMs. I'll try and answer them. Anyone watching not on the live stream, also leave a comment. If you guys leave a comment, I try to answer any questions you may have. Usual, give us a like, subscribe, and I think we'll end it there. And gentlemen, enjoy your weekend. Take care.